Hi, we are team 6 for ENG 006, and we are doing card games for our project. This is our project that we're presenting. We'll just be going over the code and what it looks like, doing a few demonstrations. My name's Tyler,
Eli.
My name's Matthew.
and I handled doing just like the getting the game to function and getting a lot of the stuff to integrate. And then we had Eli work on the start of the game with the queuing system and joining the game, which we'll go over shortly. And then Matthew is working on getting the visuals and the audio stuff to work as well. And then I also handled a bit of ThinkSpeak. So um, without any further ado, I'll have Eli start.
So I was in charge with the lobby queuing, and the lobby queuing works like this. The player writes their name into a field. This string is communicated using ThinkSpeak Write to the ThinkSpeak server. The waiting room's open, and then the timer function starts looping and checking for changes in the ThinkSpeak server. When a new name is detected, the player's name is written and the icon appears in the wait. This follows for every player until at least 3 players are reached. At this point, an image to start the game appears for the first player, and when they press the image, the main game begins.
So as we can see on the screen, player one enters their names. Let's say they're James. Player two, we'll say Eli joins. And then player three, Tyler joins. As we saw, player one was James. So James gets the start game card that appears for him. The other two just say waiting for players. And then when they hit the start game card, um, it communicates to the ThinkSpeak server and opens the main game app. All right. So now let me close all of this. So now I'll have Matthew tell us how he handled the card movement and getting
So,
that to work better.
so as Tyler said, I handled the movement of the cards, which is handled by a function that we called move asset specific, which has four input functions of image to move, X target, Y target, and steps. The image to move refers to the card that will move across the screen, while the X target and Y target represents the final X and Y coordinates of where we want the card to end up. The steps is a parameter that will determine the number of frames which the movement occurs, effectively, I'd say, affecting its speed. The process begins by determining the current position of the target using the position function, where the X and Y distance between the current position and the target position are calculated. These distances are then divided by the steps, resulting in an incremental X and Y value. The position of this image is looped by adding these incremental values to the original coordinates, moving the image in small increments towards the target with each step. Um, as you can see, there should be a short delay too, which we added between each step to ensure the movement appears smooth. And on top of the movement, I also dealt with the audio, which the audio the audio plays every time a card is moved, and it is implemented through MATLAB's audio processing functions, which we used audio read and a sound function that it accessed from the files when it was downloaded. And as Tyler's trying to show,
Unfortunately, because we're
oh, we're
recording on
recording.
Zoom, it's
It
might
won't
not
play.
yet work, but I just kind of integrated it, so I have a bit of a knowledge on all of it. Um, so enter your name, Tyler, Matthew, Eli. There we go. And now we hit start game, and then we have our startup sequence and displays the cards all out like that. That was fun to design. We had to do a little bit of trig there, and then it plays the cards out, deals them out to each hand, which it would sound better if the sound was working, but you'll get to hear that when you get the real game running. So just be excited for it. Deals all the cards out. Right now, I just left the face cards as, or the card faces as ace, twos, and threes, so that you know which player number each player is. And then because player three joined last, they play first, and they, let's say, want to play a. They wait for the other players to catch up so that I'm not breaking anything here. There we go. So it looks like all the cards are displayed now. So player three wants to play a six, let's say. They play their six. It shows up on the other two sides. And then it goes 1, 2, 3 plays. So now player one is up and they play a 9 in order to beat the 6, just a higher number. And then player 2 plays and they play a 10. It shows up. But now let's say they try to play, player 3 tries to play a 9. That one goes there, and then it just keeps on going. So honestly, the game's pretty simple all around. The getting all the rules to integrate was getting a bit rough at the end here. I'll show off the code now. But as you can see, cards can be played, but there is a little bit of work to be done there with the rest of it. Let me open up. Oh, it looks like it's open here. There we go. So this is card game V1. That's the name of the main game here. And then we go into the game. There's a bunch of properties because it's hard to choose like which way we were going to code it because all three of us are used to different ways. So there's some like native functions that are called from the app. As you can see, all of these are native functions. But then other functions like the one that we were showing off, the card game move, that one is just in the files that you download because it works between both apps. Some of them were just easier to do that way. But the main idea is this: player one is you know that their player one through ThinkSpeak, they start the game and then all the other players join, but they build a deck and they shuffle the deck and then they communicate that via strings to what is it called? The ThinkSpeak server. There we go. And they just display which cards are in which hands to the server in order of the player hands. So if there's 3 players, then channel 1, channel 2, channel 3 will just have all the cards that they hold in their respective channels, and it's coded in, but what their hands are, and then it goes through the whole dealing out the hands process, and that's all done, and then the main game begins, which is handled the biggest part is this the play check timer. This is a function I have up here, but it just runs over and over again via a timer that we have, and the timer is running the function called play check that we have. And that checks what has been played. If a card has been played, then we need to update the images and the hands that each player has, and it just moves the cards around and keeps track of where the cards are at. The main difficulty in this game was we chose to just make 52 images and then move all those images around, and that forced us to use cell arrays instead of just regular MATLAB arrays, like numeric ones. So that was just a bit of a pain because you run into things where it's like, oh no, that's a cell array. It doesn't accept that in that way. So you have to move it around in different ways. And remembering how to index perfectly all the time, that was always something we were running into. But overall, we got it to work, and I'm excited for you guys to review it and give us a grade. Thank you. Any closing statements, you guys?
It was a fun project. Definitely was a bit of a time crunch, as Tyler had brought up. We weren't able to implement all the rules that we wanted, but there was a lot of cool things that I learned from doing it, and yeah, I'd just say thank you for your
Yeah,
time.
it was a cool experience. I think it came out fine, but like Matthew said, we weren't able to implement everything we wanted to do, but I think it came out great.
All right. Well, thank you guys.